Well, all right, y'all. All across the USC, Compton, Watts, Bay to LA. Pomona, California, from valley to valley, we represent that killer Cali. So if you keeping it real on your side of your town, you tune in to Gangsta Chronicles.
Gangsta Chronicles, we gon' tell you how it goes.
If I lie, my nose will grow like Pinocchio. We gon' tell you the truth and nothing but the truth.
Gangsta Chronicles, this is not your average show.
You're now tuned into the real MC8, Big James, and Big Steel.
This is strictly from the streets.
Hello.
We represent the James.
You know, in this episode, man, we got my boy Quante Bosco Adams, man. You know, he's the only son of one of the original Compton Crips, and he spent the 28 of his last 45 years confined to the cells of juvenile, county, state, and federal detention facilities. You know, my man grew up in a single-parent household, low-income house and all that. Started selling drugs at the age of 10, driving by age 11, dropped out of school at 13, and by 15 was sentenced to serve a juvenile life sentence in the California Youth Authority. Got released at 19, he was soon thereafter back in prison for another 6 years and 2 months. Got released in September 18, 2004. And on January 23rd, 2004, at the age of 28 and 3 weeks after his baby was born, his only child was born, he was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to 35 years in federal prison for attempting to traffic marijuana. And check this out. My man is facing, you know, these 35 years, and he just said, fuck it, I'm gonna break up out this motherfucker.
Right.
We gonna talk about that tonight, man. So my first question is, man, let's go back to the beginning before we go into all this, man. I see marijuana and I see 35 years. What was you doing? How many pounds did you have, man? Like, what was you doing for them to give you 35 years?
Really, it was my priors that really got me to 35 years. But because typically, if it weren't for my prior convictions, you know, I had a prior drug offense and a prior juvenile assault. So that right there is what caused the judge to enhance my sentence to 35. So if it weren't for that, I probably would have ended up with something like 10 or 15, about 15 or something like that. But even still.
Yeah, that still sounds like a lot of time for some weed, man.
Yeah, even still, consider irrelevant of the priors. I mean, we talking about marijuana.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we talking about a motherfucking leaf. We talking about plant.
We talking about this shit, right?
Yeah, that shit right there, you smoking right there.
That's legal.
That's legal.
You can smell all on the 10 freeway when you're driving over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so like take me back, man. So it seemed like you just had a really turbulent childhood, man. Cause you know we cool with your pops and everything, man. Shout out to the homie.
Yeah, my childhood was different. I mean, probably not too much different than other people who come from the same community I come from, but I guess the thing that separated me from most other kids that came from my community was the fact that I was a little more advanced. So, you know, I kind of stepped off the porch a lot sooner than most other kids did.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest with you, back then, in the 80s, that was like common. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? From Compton, it was common for us to step off the porch at 11, 12, 13 years old. If you stepped off the porch at 16, 17, you was a late bloomer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but when we put it in contrast to society as a whole, that was a different childhood. But at the same time, it was a childhood that was pretty much given to us. Because as a kid, we only know what we see.
Yeah.
So if we see other juveniles selling drugs and driving cars, then quite naturally, we gonna follow in the same footsteps.
I mean, that was my motherfucking influence. Shit. Growing up in Compton, growing up in the neighborhood, I saw motherfuckers I was 12, 13, seeing motherfuckers in fucking Nissan trucks and shit, the ski racks, Volkswagen Bugs with the plush and shit interior. man, I'm like, shit, for a role model, shit, I need me some bread. I need a sack.
Yeah, everybody, that's, and I think everybody had a sack back then. The money was just flowing like that.
Especially where he came from, because that's where you had your Baby Gangsters, your Turtles, and all those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Them the people I looked up to.
Zach Street, Spring Street.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah.
Damn near half of one side of the block was sold up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Once you get halfway in that block, it was only credit. You wasn't coming up that way unless you was purchasing shit.
Exactly.
And they had a lot of youngsters at the time. Mm-hmm. You know, like every other neighborhood. But over there, they were more advanced because they was really into it. Mm-hmm. But it was the crack thing. Now, marijuana wasn't that deep. I don't think it was.
Yeah, and that's what's really tripping me out, because even with his priors, they came from him being a kid pretty much, and it's just like they gave him an enhancement for some weed. It's not like he was got caught with 25 kilos. How many pounds of weed did you have?
1,400.
14. Oh, you had 1,400 pounds of weed. That's a lot of weed. That's a lot of weed.
I thought he was going to say,
Hey, my nigga still turned around and was like, oh shit, that's a lot of motherfuckers.
That's a lot of motherfucking weed.
Back then, 1,400 pounds.
But-
That was a lot of
you moving.
But then at the same time, like, I never even got it, because it was like a sting operation. They actually confiscated it down in Texas to the person who was transporting it to me, and brought it to St. Louis, where I was supposed to pick it up
How
at.
old was you at this time?
I was 28 at the time.
28, okay.
Yeah.
And he was 28 at the time. So, man, tell me, you get locked up, man, and so pretty much just me looking at the, the reenactments, man, you pretty much had made up in your mind from the time you pulled up in there that you was getting up out of that motherfucker.
Well, when I first got arrested, that wasn't my state of mind, because at the time, I think you kind of made a mistake there. My daughter wasn't born yet. She was conceived
Okay, gotcha.
2 weeks before I was arrested.
Okay, gotcha.
So I just found out when I was arrested that I got a child, finna have a child brought into this world. And so that right there is what really like sparked me, because I've been doing time all my life, but just the fact that, okay, I can be, because I was looking at life. I could be sentenced to life for some motherfucking marijuana. I ain't killed nobody. That was one of the factors. Then the other factor is that I got a child that's finna come into this world, my only child. So, and I always told myself that if I bring a child into this world, I want to be out there to raise it. I don't want to be an absent father and let my child go through the same thing that I went through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't want to repeat that cycle. Somebody's got to break the cycle. And I told myself that I'm worth more than that to be repeating the cycle. So it kind of like, when reality set in, it's like, it kind of like fucked me up. Like, this is it. This could be my life. I can go down as a motherfucker who died in prison, who had a child and wasn't there for the child. Legacy. And that's it. I didn't want that.
So you just said, man, I'm busting up out of here.
You know what I'm saying? After a couple months in there, a few months in there, I said, I'm finna break out. And so I actually tried to break out there, and somebody snitched on me. And they placed me in solitary confinement. When I was in solitary confinement, I tried to escape again, got close. Police called me coming out of vent. They happened to be outside smoking cigarettes at the time. So from there, they took me to this other prison, which was supposed to be the maximum security. They placed me in a cell 24 hours a day with a camera in there. I didn't come out for nothing, anything. Only thing I came out was for a shower 3 times a week.
You was under watch 24 hours.
Yeah. And that's the jail I actually escaped from.
Oh, wow.
And so,
while under 24-hour surveillance, and just to throw this fact in there, this is 10 years before El Chapo's escape, and you were the only prisoner to successfully escape when being monitored around the clock.
yeah. So it made a big deal. The media ate it up.
I'm sure.
labeled me an escape artist.
Motherfucker don't go to a maximum secured prison and then just think, okay, I'm finna get out of here. I mean, you have to think strategically that, like, I mean, your mindset had to be 100 to escape from a prison like that. You have to really be sitting back, damn, how the fuck I'm gonna do this? Now I'm calculating everybody moves when the guards come. I watched the video and you pretty much sat back and paid attention to everything. You didn't jot it down, everything was in your head.
Yeah.
The average brother ain't doing that.
Yeah, that's something I picked up along the way though. It's like,
Was it your determination just to get the fuck up?
That's all it is.
Like, I don't y'all can lock me up in here. I'm gonna be contemplating a way to get up.
Exactly.
Because I got a kid on the way, and nothing is gonna stop me from trying to get the fuck up out of here, regardless of what monitor shit or cameras or wherever you try to lock me up. Your whole determination was, I got to get the fuck up out of here.
Exactly. I got to get out of here without sacrificing my soul. Because I still had principles. I could have told and got out, but that I wasn't going to do that. And it's not so much of the fact of just being labeled a snitch. It's the fact that I don't do things that I consider wrong. And I consider if me and 8 get caught up, it's wrong for me. You get away, it's wrong for me to come tell on you. You know what I'm saying? That's betrayal. There's no honor in that.
Definitely.
And so I wouldn't do anything that, you know what I'm saying, that I would have to live with. Just as I didn't want to live with being considered a deadbeat father, I couldn't live with myself knowing that I put 8 in prison.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And not only that, assisting the evil, wicked war on drugs that is designed to put black men in prison. Why in the fuck would I assist in that?